I imagine that this has been rough, and we heard some of the sound from you in the locker room. How are you dealing with the fact that you guys are on another long losing streak?
I mean, I'm not handling it well. I mean, I'm not just walking around here with a smile on my damn face. Quite frankly, isn't nothing to be happy about. I mean, of course, as far as the human side, I'm definitely grateful to be able to play football at this level, being able to be the player that I am. Definitely grateful for that. But I mean, just as far as wins and losses go, definitely not happy or satisfied at all.
What was the mood like after the game in your impression last night and just after the clock hit zero yesterday and then carrying that into today? How do you assess the locker room and what you've seen?
I mean, honestly, it's been consistent for what, 4 or 5 weeks now, as far as after every loss since Washington has really been about the same. Just underperforming, finding ways not to pull through, having opportunities to win games and just not pulling through. So I mean, just honestly frustrated. Just looking and searching for answers at this point and figuring out how we can win. I mean, I think they were playing good teams. So we just got to figure out how to close things out, how to come back and finish teams.
I think the biggest thing for us is also we know the talent on this roster and we know
Right.
what the group is capable of. When you consider the talent level that you all have, knowing the professionals in the room, knowing the amount of veterans on this team, how do you take that into account? Because I know you guys know that you're better than this.
I mean, I feel like that's what drives the frustration the most. Because I mean, I would say in 2022, we had a terrible roster. So, I mean, we didn't just have a whole bunch of guys that had made a name for themselves, that proved themselves. I mean, honestly, that was probably the time where it's like, okay, we're not really built to win right now. But I feel like the team that we have, the roster that we have right now, we're built to win right now. And I don't think it's something where it's, okay, we got to come in and get the right guys in the building. I mean, for the most part, as far as the locker room goes, we have the right guys and we have enough to be able to win right now and to be a playoff team again. We just haven't put it all together, top to bottom, as far as being able to execute, um, be put in the right positions, just really all of it. I feel like we all got to do a better job.
And it's interesting too because you said at the beginning of the year, or at the end of preseason, and it stuck with me. Where you're like, "Look, there have been times that I've been on teams, and the teams were supposed to take a step forward, and they didn't take a step forward." So
Right.
I imagine that there is a lot of hurt that goes along with that, where you're stuck in this cycle of it not going the way that any of you guys want, and maybe feeling like you're doing everything you can, but even that hasn't been good enough that could be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't think the losses that we have is from a lack of effort or guys not going 100%. I mean, I feel like that's probably the biggest thing is going out there each and every day, each and every game, putting your body on the line, trying to prepare the right way, and honestly, just coming up short. So, I mean, I don't think anybody tries to lose the game, but again, just for us trying to put it all out there and coming up short for whatever reason it is definitely hurts.
I think the fourth quarter showed that. You know, if we needed proof on tape, the fourth quarter against the Vikings showed that there was a comeback that was wanted. There was a fight that kept going. You could even see it on the sidelines. Lawrence and I were joking about the play before Sam Donald had to leave. The ball goes out of bounds and somebody fake intercepted on the sideline. You know, you see the energy there.
Right.
How would you describe the mindset that was during that fourth quarter, watching the team come back and have a chance to send it to OT?
I mean, we really have a fighter's mentality. Every time that we step on the field, it's no matter what the score, is, we believe that we have opportunity to win. So I mean, just in that moment, we knew it started with the defense. We couldn't allow them to score in the moment. We had to get some quick stops to get the ball back to our offense, and the offense was able to go down there and score twice. Special teams stepped up, recovered the onside, hit DJ with the big play. And I mean, it just was all belief from the very beginning. Just continue to believe, never let our faith waver, no matter what the score was, and just continue to fight.
I know that you were looking forward to the matchup with Justin Jefferson. How would you assess how it went?
I would say good. I mean, I feel like he's a heck of a player, very, very talented, very skilled. Definitely, I would say the best receiver in the league. So, I mean, just overall, I think for myself, it was a solid performance. Definitely would have wanted to get some more ball production. But I mean, other than that, I feel like it was a pretty solid day. He didn't really do too much or impact the game too much. So, I mean, overall, I feel like it was a solid day.
Do you mind if we get a little technical, and you can be as technical as you feel necessary? Because I was watching yesterday, and as the game was going on, I was texting the crew and texting Layla, and I was like, "Ooh, it kind of looks like Jaylon is traveling a little bit with Justin Jefferson," which is something that I think all Bears fans wanted to see. And then I was like, "Okay, well, they have to be smart about this. They can't key the defense and say, oh, well, they're in man every time that Jaylon goes with Jefferson." So I thought I saw some of the zone looks of you moving over to the same side as him too. What were they, from what you can share, what did they ask you to do, and how were you able to do it?
I mean, I don't feel like it was that complicated. Just go wherever Justin goes for the most part. I mean, of course, if he motions or does certain things, I mean, there's going to be ways and times for them to be able to get him away from me or that he goes away from me. But I mean, really as simple as it goes. If Justin goes to the right, you go to the right. If he goes to the left, you go to the left. I mean, it wasn't much more complicated than that. Of course, we needed to be matched up in a given situation. That's what it was. I mean, it wasn't too much to dive into or nothing like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it was best on best.
I feel like the same question goes regarding the penalties as well. It's like we say it in the NBA all the time. Certain teams don't get the calls. I feel like I say it in basketball a lot. I feel like the Bears are that
Right.
way. You're not getting
No
the
doubt.
calls, or like there's not a benefit of the doubt there. Take me through the 2 penalties that you had to deal with, because out of 5 targets, I know, one is the goal, limit the targets. The other is not with the penalties. And then just your thoughts on how the Bears are faring against officiating.
I mean, since I've been with the Bears, I feel like as far as the 50-50 calls go, they don't really go our way. But I mean, that's just part of it. I feel like really the first one on the deep ball, that was probably the one I didn't understand the most. Because I mean, we were hip to hip. He is pushing and engaging into me. I give a quick tug of the jersey that, I mean, I wouldn't even say stopped him from running. I was more so trying not to get completely pushed off as he's pushing off of me. And the middle judge, or I don't even know what he's called, but the guy in the middle, who really it's not even his call. It's really the back judge who normally calls that. And he probably, quite frankly, was the only one that felt like that, because when I got together, I tried to work my way into the group, and they were kind of questioning, asking like, "Are you sure he impeded his progress and things like that?" And then he was really the only one that felt like that. So I mean, in that call, it is what it is. And then really the second one, I think it was just a lot of contact at the top of the route. I wouldn't necessarily say it was pass interference. I mean, at the end of the day, he ran into me, and it was some contact there. So I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, both of those calls could have easily went either way. But I mean, clearly it went to him.
In shows before, like you've talked to us about, like, hey, you look forward to the challenge of the best receivers in the league, and they've kind of kept you on the same side.
Right.
What changed? Were you able to lobby and say to Eric Washington and Matt Eberflus, hey, give me this opportunity, I can take on this responsibility?
I mean, at the end of the day, when you're going against the best receiver in the league, you got to figure out a way to stop him. And I mean, quite frankly, I feel like I was the best answer to that. So, I mean, it really wasn't too much that went into it. Of course, there were some discussions on kind of some situational things, how we want to do it, and we worked it out and we made it happen.
You can take that lesson into a very short week coming up on Thursday, knowing that the Lions have a more balanced attack passing
Right.
wise, but facing a team that's known to rack up the yards and the points. What are you anticipating with the next matchup?
Them to honestly run the ball. I feel like if you kind of look at our games, there's definitely, I would say, blood in the water as far as the run game, and they're a big run team. So I mean, if anything, they run the ball. So I mean, 60%, I would say they run the ball, and the things that they do want to do in the past is predicated off the run. So I mean, playing them this year, last year, is really no different. The biggest thing and the biggest way to stop them is to stop the run. You stop the run, make them one dimensional. Then I don't think they beat too many teams doing that. So just really for us, it's really stopping the run. Of course, easier said than done. They got a very well schemed run game. They got a 2-headed monster in David Montgomery. Of course, he was here, so I know what type of running back he is. And then, of course, Gibbs, fast, dynamic. So I mean, they're going to find ways to really get them the ball in the run game, screen game, things like that. So got to try to find a strategy, a way to eliminate those guys, and then let us eat in the back end against their passing core.
Well, what's been the issue from your perspective with the run game defensively? Because whether it was Josh Jacobs last week or this week, the Vikings being able to average 5 yards a carry, it hasn't been as stout as we usually see it. So,
Right.
what's been the issue there?
Really just being better on our assignments, being better on our fits. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Like I said, we're not a bad tackling team. So I mean, if a team is running the ball like that on us, that's because they're getting gaps, hitting lanes and things like that. So I mean, we just gotta tighten that up really best way we can, keep guys in their gaps and get our linebackers flowing downhill. So I mean, the hardest thing for them is to try to fight through linemen. That's getting up to the second level and things like that. So just wanting to, I would say, keep them clear, let them come downhill. D line stay in the gaps, corners and safeties come down, fit from outside in, cap off the defense. So overall, everybody just has to be better, has to be tighter.
Jaylon, I don't normally do the afternoon show. This is a treat for me. I know you and I just met a
Right.
couple weeks ago at Gale Street Inn, but Shane is already giving me advice. So he's right. I got to do another one of these football after dark appearances, and I don't know that ours is going to be easily topped. I'm working with DJ Moore next week. Do you have any advice for me on what I need to ask DJ? Because we had a good time with the crew at Gale Street last 2 weeks ago.
You need to ask him. I mean, I don't know. DJ's a little different, so it's hard for me to say what you need or what you should ask him. I feel like he'll should be a good time. So I mean, just I would say just keep it light, and then he'll crack some jokes hopefully here and there.
I mean, I think I need to ask him about his daughter being the unofficial star of Hard Knocks, though. Ariel has
Yeah,
main
yeah.
character
I
energy.
didn't want to put. Yeah, I didn't want to say his family. I'm not gonna volunteer asking him about his family, but he definitely does have his daughter is very, very much so entertaining. So I would definitely probably say start there. She's entertaining, and he definitely has a lovely, beautiful family.
Well,
She's
let
a
me.
rock star. She's cool.
Yeah, no
She
doubt.
could be in my seat in like 2 years, I think.
Well, let me
Is that
ask Jalen something for both of you on the DJ Moore thing. I have dubbed him the king of rack. He is run after the catch. Like watching him bounce off of defenders, watching him be able to make plays when he's running on smoke routes and getting 15 yards on those. I've been impressed ever since he's been in a Bears uniform. As a defender, as someone who has to deal with guys like DJ Moore, how impressive is it that he's able to generate offense even when he's not on the longest route combinations?
how impressive it is? I mean, I feel like that's one of his best attributes. I mean, even playing him in Carolina, that was the biggest thing. Like, if he catches it, you got to get him down because that's when he turns into a running back. So, I mean, he definitely had been having strong legs going back to college. If you really have followed him throughout his years in college in the league, you definitely know he's very, very strong and stable lower body wise. So, I mean, I don't know why guys even try to hit him up top or try to just knock him down. He's not going down that way. So, I mean, best thing I can say for anybody is to try to just grab a leg. 'Cause, I mean, you can't run without your leg. So, I mean, he's if you go up top, he's not going down easy. So, I mean, he's definitely very, very strong, very dynamic in that way.
He did say today that he believes there was pass interference on his passing attempt. What are your thoughts on the assessment?
On which one? I probably don't even remember.
The one that DJ threw.
Oh yeah, I mean, as a DB, I'm never just gonna in favor of calling pass interference. But I mean, since it's on my team, definitely pass interference for sure. But I mean, it could have went either way. I mean, if we're talking ball, I mean, he got his head back. So I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't have wanted that call. So I can't just get on here and say, oh yeah, that definitely was pass interference. It wasn't that bad only because he got his head back and made contact.